You know what room I used to avoid the most? The kitchen. It was the hardest area to clean, the fastest to get messy again, and somehow always full of stuff I didn't remember putting there. But that changed, and I didn't renovate or buy new containers or spend a weekend doing a total overhaul. This video is a step-by-step reset, 10 small but powerful things you can declutter to make your kitchen feel fresh, open, and actually enjoyable to be in. These are the exact things I did in my own cluttered kitchen, and no, I didn't do it all in a day. But every time I tackled one area, I felt calmer, like I could finally breathe when I walked in there. Start with just one. The first one might surprise you. It's something most of us are keeping just in case. Have you noticed how many dusty appliances are just sitting in your kitchen? Most of them started as just-in-case items, in case you bake more, in case you host, in case you suddenly become someone who makes homemade waffles every Sunday. But here's what really happens. They pile up. And before you know it, your cabinets are overflowing with machines you don't even remember owning. For me, it was a cake pop maker. Pink adorable on sale, and I was sure it would make birthdays more fun. But I used it once. It was messy. It barely worked. And then it just stayed there for 2 years. And the worst part, I felt bad every time I saw it. Like I was wasting space, wasting money, or worse, failing at being the kind of person who uses cute kitchen gadgets. Here's the rule I came up with. If I haven't used it in the last 30 days, or realistically plan to use it in the next 30, it doesn't stay. No more someday. No more guilt. Just space for what I actually use. I gave away the cake pop maker, the mini donut press, the quesadilla maker. I kept the blender because I use it every morning. But everything else, it was time to go. And the result wasn't just more space. It was peace. It was knowing that every drawer I open has only what I need. So if your kitchen feels heavy or chaotic, start here. Open one cabinet. Find one gadget that's collecting dust. And let it go, even if it was expensive, even if it was a gift. Letting go is what gives your kitchen back to you. And once you've made space here in this one little cabinet, something shifts. You start seeing other corners differently too. The drawer in the bathroom, the dusty shelf in the hallway. Tomorrow, I'm sharing a 15-minute reset I use to clear out another room that gets overwhelming fast, and honestly, it's the one spot that used to embarrass me the most. You don't want to miss it. It's quick, oddly satisfying, and you'll wish you'd known it sooner. But first, let's look at what's hiding in your kitchen, right next to the things you do use. Because not all clutter is useless, some of it just snuck in. Let's talk about all the little parts that came with something else. You didn't buy them. They came in the box with your blender, your waffle maker, your pan set. And because they were part of a set, you felt like you had to keep them, even if you've never once used them. Even if you're not sure what they're for. I used to do this too. My food processor came with 5 different attachments. I only ever used one. But I kept the other 4 because what if one day I needed to shred cabbage or slice a cucumber just so? Here's the truth. Keeping something just in case doesn't make it useful, it just makes it clutter. Especially if it's been over a year and it's still sitting in the back of a drawer. So here's what I suggest. Pick one appliance. Just one. Gather all the random pieces it came with, and ask, do I even use this? Do I even know what this is for? If not, let it go. You don't need to store clutter out of guilt or habit. You're not throwing away potential. You're clearing space for what actually helps you. Once I did this, I noticed a shift. The cabinet with my baking tools, easier to grab what I need. The drawer with our daily tools, no more digging past weird parts to find the spatula. When you stop keeping things to complete the set, you start completing your space instead. And speaking of things we tend to keep too many of, let's look at your pots and pans. Let's be honest, how many pots do you actually use? Most of us have cabinets packed with every size, shape, and color. And still we always reach for the same 2 or 3. The ones that heat evenly. The ones that are easy to wash. The ones that don't splash sauce all over the stove or wobble when you pick them up. For the longest time I thought I needed options. One for stir fry, one for boiling pasta, one just because it looked fancy. But really, what I needed was less thinking. So here's what I did. I pulled out every pot I owned and asked myself, which ones do I actually love cooking with? Which ones do I use at least once a week without dreading the cleanup? I kept those out. The rest, especially the weird-shaped ones that felt more like kitchen decor than tools I wrapped up and moved to the garage. Not thrown away. Just not in my way. And here's the magic: cooking instantly felt lighter. I didn't have to dig around or second guess. I knew exactly what to reach for. Fewer choices, less mess, more ease. Now that we've cleared out what you're not using, let's look at what's sitting out in plain sight every day, and why it's making your kitchen feel even smaller than it is. Sometimes it's not about what you have, it's about where you keep it. There was a time I thought my kitchen was too small. I had stuff piled behind stuff. Every time I reached for one thing, 5 other things came crashing down. It wasn't that I had too much, it's that I couldn't see what I had. And no, I didn't run out and buy those fancy acrylic organizers or a whole new system. I just pulled everything out of my main cabinets and asked, what do I actually use every day? Where would I naturally want to reach for it? What would make the next time I cook easier? That one afternoon changed everything. I moved my go-to pans and tools to the front row. I stacked the lighter pots inside the heavier ones. I slid a simple wire riser onto one shelf to double the space without doing any DIY. And I created a little zone for breakfast stuff right near where the toaster lives. It sounds obvious, but the moment you stop organizing by category and start organizing by how you move in the kitchen, it finally works. And here's the thing: when you open a cabinet and everything is visible and easy to grab, your brain relaxes a little. It feels less like you're surviving the kitchen, and more like it's working with you. Now let's step outside the cabinets and talk about the one surface that sets the tone for your whole space: the countertop. What's on yours right now? I used to think having stuff on the kitchen counter was just normal. That's where the toaster goes, the blender lives, the oils stay. But I didn't realize how much those little normal things were making the whole space feel busy, heavy, and constantly halfway cleaned. Then one weekend I cleared everything off, not to declutter, just to wipe it all down properly. And instantly the room looked different, lighter, like it could finally breathe. It felt like I had just moved in. Except better, because this time I got to choose what came back. So I asked myself, what do I actually use every single day? I mean truly, not the air fryer I swore I'd use more, or the tray of half-used condiments. Just the few essentials that earn their spot. For me, that was one kettle, a jar of salt, a spoon rest. The rest went into cabinets, drawers, or baskets tucked neatly away. Out of sight, but not gone forever. And since then, I've never gone back. The counter stays clear, which makes the kitchen feel clean, even on days when the sink is full. There's no daily reset needed. It already feels ready. If your kitchen always feels like it's in progress, try this. Wipe it completely clean. Then only let back in what truly serves you. Coming up next, let's open that drawer that somehow became a junk magnet and clear it out in under 10 minutes. Every kitchen has one. That one drawer, small, shallow, and completely overloaded. It holds all the random things we might need someday mismatched. Measuring spoons, mystery lids, chopsticks from takeout, broken twist ties, blunt peelers, a garlic press we forgot we owned. We don't even know exactly what's in there. We just know it's packed, hard to open, and never helpful when we're in a rush. I used to treat that drawer like a black hole, just shove something in, slam it shut, and pretend it wasn't my problem. Until one night, I couldn't even close it properly, and I'd had enough. So I dumped the whole thing out. And guess what? Most of it wasn't useful. It was just delayed decisions. I picked out what I actually used while cooking: the sharp peeler, the one spatula I reach for, the can opener that doesn't hurt my hand, and let the rest go. Some went in the trash. A few things I boxed up in case I ever needed backup. But most of it I didn't miss for a second. Then I wiped the drawer, dropped in a basic divider tray, and gave each item a real place. Now, when I open that drawer, there's no more sighing or digging. It just works. And the best part, every time I cook, I feel just a little less scattered, because even this one small corner of my kitchen finally makes sense. Let's carry that momentum into the next space, your pantry or spice zone. Trust me, there's so much visual clutter hiding there and so much calm waiting underneath. There's this quiet kind of chaos that builds up in the spice zone. You don't really notice it until one day your fingers feel sticky just grabbing the soy sauce, and you realize there are 3 half-used jars of paprika, a bottle of fish sauce from 2 years ago, and something crusty that might have been hoisin sauce once. It used to drive me nuts. I'd wipe the counter, clean the stove, but the shelf of oils and sauces still made everything look and feel grimy. So here's what I do now. I pull everything out: oils, sauces, spices, bouillon jars, old baking powder, the whole mess. Then I line up the bottles and ask myself one question. Do I use this regularly? Not might use someday? Not was on sale? Not still good? Just, do I actually reach for this in the next 2 to 3 weeks? I toss duplicates. I wipe down every bottle, especially around the cap. I group things by category: daily cooking like olive oil, fish sauce, black pepper, baking sauces. And I keep only 1 bottle of each staple. If I have 2 similar soy sauces, one stays, the other becomes marinade tomorrow, or goes in the donate box if unopened. To keep it tidy long term, I use a shallow tray or small bin to hold bottles. That way, if there's a spill, I can just wash the tray, not scrub the whole cabinet. You don't need a Pinterest-worthy spice rack. You just need less, and clarity. And speaking of hiding messes in plain sight, wait until you see what's living in that plastic bag drawer. Let's go there next. You know that corner of your kitchen filled with plastic bags and paper bags you're saving for later? Yeah, it's not harmless. It's clutter. Silent, sneaky clutter that grows every week until one day you open a cabinet and wonder why it feels like your kitchen is closing in on you. I used to stuff bags into every free space. Behind the microwave, inside the junk drawer, under the sink, anywhere they could squeeze. Grocery bags, takeout bags, bakery bags. I told myself they'd come in handy one day, but most of the time I just forgot they were even there. Or I'd dig one out and it'd be greasy, torn, or full of crumbs. And here's the truth. No one tells you that just-in-case pile is costing you space, time, and peace. Because the next time you really do need a bag, you won't want to dig through a mountain to find it. So now I keep it super simple. 1 small bin. That's it. If the bags don't fit, they go. I save around 10 to 15 clean, folded, and ready to use. And suddenly, that cabinet under the sink, I can open it without something falling out. That little change made the whole kitchen feel calmer, like I had one less thing screaming at me when I walked in. And since we're already in, why do I still have this mode? Let's talk about that drawer full of mismatched food containers. That's coming next. You know those plastic tubs we save after finishing yogurt butter or takeout soup? Yeah, we all do it. This might be useful later, we tell ourselves. But if you've got a whole drawer full of mismatched, lidless, stained containers, it's time for a reset. Most of us keep way more than we'll ever use. And because they're all different shapes and sizes, they don't nest well, they clutter up fast, and most of the time, we still reach for the same 2 containers anyway. What helped me? First, I pulled out every single tub lid and leftover container from the cabinet. I matched sets and only kept the ones that were complete clean and actually a good size for what I store. If something didn't have a lid, I gave myself 3 options. 1, recycle it. 2, repurpose it, like using a tub to store batteries, small tools, or sewing stuff. 3, let it go. If I couldn't do either of the first 2, it had to go. Now I keep only a limited number of reusable tubs, just enough for leftovers or school lunches. And I store them nested by size with lids upright in a small box next to them sorted by shape. Less clutter. Less plastic falling out every time I open the cupboard. More space for things I actually use. And speaking of things we save just in case, next up we're opening the freezer drawer. Let's talk about why it's probably hiding more chaos than you think. If you think storing food in the freezer is enough, and that checking or managing it can wait, that's the trap. I used to believe it too. I'd toss things in there thinking I was being smart, being prepared. But what I didn't realize was that drawer became a black hole. I couldn't even tell you what was in the back half of it. And slowly that out of sight, out of mind, mentality started costing me food, got buried, forgotten, freezer burned. I'd still feel like we have nothing for dinner. And worse, I felt guilty every time I opened it. So here's the fix. Once a month, give your freezer 15 minutes of attention. Pull everything out. Don't do it piece by piece, it won't work. You need to see it all at once. Wipe the drawer check dates, toss what you'll never eat, and only keep what you'll realistically use in the next 2 weeks. Label what needs labeling. Create a use this soon zone right up front. Make it visible, and I promise your future self will thank you on a random Tuesday night when dinner feels impossible. This tiny routine changed how I plan meals and how I feel every time I open my fridge. It stopped being a drawer of guilt and became a drawer of actual help. And with that, your kitchen reset is almost complete. Let's bring it all home. That was your 10-step kitchen reset, not with fancy storage, but by letting go of the things quietly getting in your way. Sometimes it's not the mess itself, but our own habits keeping too many lids saving just in case gadgets letting the plastic bags multiply that slowly turn our kitchen into a source of stress. If even one of these changes helped you feel just a little more at ease in your space today, then it's already worth it. And if you're in the mood to keep this momentum going, there's something special waiting for you tomorrow. A 15-minute reset that'll change how you see your bathroom and maybe even how you feel about cleaning. It's short, no fuss, and weirdly satisfying. Don't miss it. Plus, I'm also sharing my favorite eco-friendly swaps, soon small changes that make your home healthier and reduce waste. Trust me, you'll want to be there for that one. So if this helped, let me know, like, share. Leave a comment or hit subscribe. It not only tells the algorithm you want more of this, but it also tells me you're here and you're ready to make space for what really matters.